$10,000 a year in tax write-off for each job created under Section 936. So you can see how attractive this is. It kind of worked because it did stimulate the economy. It created jobs, most of which were full-time and much better paid than what the average Puerto Rican could get anywhere. But these sections were created in the 1970s because of the Cold War. We continue to try to make Cuba fail, and on the other hand, Puerto Rico was portrayed as the pearl of the Caribbean. What would happen to your country if you align with the United States, with the West? So Puerto Rico could not fail.
As an example of an undeveloped land that is going through an industrial revolution without violence and without communism, Puerto Rico has been called a showcase of America. The growth of industry, agriculture, and the tourist trade is raising the standard of living.
So the infusion of jobs into Puerto Rico was a kind of propaganda move to create a kind of Potemkin village to show the world, especially Cubans, what happens if you're aligned with the United States as opposed to being aligned with the Soviet Union.
Exactly. We're going to help Puerto Rico, but there's going to be something in return for the corporations and for our foreign policy as well.
So then two bad things happened to Puerto Rico. First, the Cold War ended, and then the economic blowout of 2008. What happened to manufacturing jobs?
The 936 started to phase out. Puerto Rico started to lose manufacturing jobs. First, a few hundred, then thousands a year. Finally, tens of thousands of jobs were lost. And finally, by 2006, Puerto Rico is in a deep economic crisis, even before the United States gets into its recession, which has always been the case. Puerto Rico gets into a recession of its own before the mainland gets into it.
But before we portray Puerto Rico only as a victim of the machinations of the mainland, it's not entirely blameless in this.
Yes, definitely there's been mismanagement, waste, corruption, and many bad decisions. Up to the end of the 1990s, Puerto Rico had been really good at paying its bonds. So when 936 started to be phased out, the government decided to borrow heavily to engage in public works and even in a universal healthcare system, thinking that somehow that would spark the economy. And the problem wasn't apparent at first because there was a large tax base, as most of the 936 companies were still there. But as they started to move away and unemployment rose, that combined with the borrowing, and that's how we got to this debt.
And here we get to a pretty significant irony. We were talking before about comparing Puerto Rico to Cuba in the grasp of the evil empire. Now, Puerto Rico is in a free fall, and Cuba is in its ascendancy. We're restoring relations incrementally with the still communist island. It's enjoying the attention of the U.S. government and the goodwill, while our former poster child for capitalism is in a death spiral.
Cuba has always been more sexy than Puerto Rico, and this opening of Cuba is going to affect Puerto Rican tourism. It's also going to affect American investment, and Puerto Rico in the shape it is, even though it has an impressive infrastructure, it's gonna be hard for Puerto Rico to compete with Cuba. And as a matter of fact, you add to that the Zika virus. Recently, people are canceling their hotel reservations because it was announced that hundreds of thousands of Puerto Ricans may be infected with the Zika virus by the end of the year. So there's gonna be hard times for Puerto Rico.
So Congress had the opportunity to restore bankruptcy protection to the island, left town for a brief recess without acting. What is likely to happen next?
I think that Congress is going to continue to move slowly. I don't think that the Puerto Rican crisis is in the radar of many Congress people. Not even the Speaker of the House, Ryan, can get a consensus for the plan he presented, which fails to address many of the issues with Puerto Rico's economy. And it actually installed an oversight board, which has been received with mixed feelings in Puerto Rico. It's seen as colonialism, but a sector of Puerto Ricans would have it just to get something done.
But there is one thing the island has going for it, and that's Lin-Manuel Miranda, the creator and star of the Broadway show Hamilton, whose family is from Puerto Rico, and he is the public face of the crisis. He sang this on John Oliver's show.
So Ryan, I'll come sing Hamilton at your house. I'll do-si-do with Pelosi. I'll wear my Hamilton blouse. Your citizens are suffering. Stop the bleeding. Stop the loss. Help Puerto Rico. It's just 100 miles across. Thank you.
Is that going to help?
I think it might help. Even Speaker Ryan started to talk more about Puerto Rico.
I was just getting ready to watch Game of Thrones, which was the season premiere.
Yes.
So I turned it on early, and that was on. That guy came on the stage and starts throwing my name around.
Yeah.
That was very surreal.
I want you to focus on Puerto Rico.
Yeah, so we are focused on Puerto Rico.
The diaspora are really organizing and putting their foot forward to Puerto Rico to reach out to Congress to make sure that people know about this and what is going on. But this crisis and the reluctance of Congress to deal with it has united Puerto Ricans in the island and with Puerto Ricans in the diaspora in a way that in my 44 years of life I never seen before. So I think this is a really positive effect of the recession and of Congress' reluctance to address it.
Kind of like a family crisis can heal a poor marriage.
Exactly, like a family crisis. And the numbers do show that Puerto Ricans are moving to key states, Florida, but also in Virginia and in Ohio. They're in states that are really crucial to decide the election. Puerto Ricans are going to be vital to deciding who is the president of the United States.
What if we just build a wall?
Well, I guess the wall will come down, then it's going to be used to float to Florida.
Harry, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Harry Franke Rivera is a historian and researcher with the Center for Puerto Rican Studies at the City University of New York.
Coming up, nearly 4 decades after the Iranian Revolution, you can be on the streets of 70s Tehran and influence the action inside a game.
Why'd you throw the rock, Rizzo? What are you, a freedom fighter now? I lost myself. You're here to observe and document, okay?
This is On the Media.
Is supported by Moo, offering a variety of business cards and printed products. Moo also offers Printfinity, the ability to print a different image on every card. More at moo.com.
We'll keep covering the presidential race on the Brian Lehrer Show as we introduce our Republican breakup scorecard. Let's see, 2 President Bushes, no endorsement. Shelton Adelson, yes. Paul Ryan, well...
I'm not there right now, and I hope to, though, and I want to.
Hashtag awkward. And our 30 Issues election series continues. Next up, political correctness, a problem real or fake? The Brian Lehrer Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on WNYC.
WNYC support comes from City National Bank Wealth Planning, providing investment management, trust, and financial planning services to clients throughout New York. More information at cnb.com/NYC. The Jerome L. Green Foundation, committed to New York City's cutting-edge performing, digital, and visual arts communities.
WNYC's programs are made possible by our members. Thank you.
This is On the Media. I'm Bob Garfield.
And I'm Brooke Gladstone. A new video game, 1979 Revolution Black Friday, projects the player into an uprising widely covered and often distorted by the media. The Iranian Revolution that ousted the corrupt U.S.-backed Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi and installed the repressive Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. The game covers the 2 days leading up to and including September 8, 1978, Black Friday, when hundreds of Iranian protesters were gunned down by government soldiers. We see all this through the lens of the main character, an aspiring Iranian photojournalist named Reza Shirazi, just back in Tehran from studying abroad. You can choose the actions he takes, whether to say, take a picture or pick up a rock. The fates of his friends may hinge on your decisions.
Don't do this, Reza. Trust me. You throw that rock, and it's gonna change you.
You can do this. Make a stand.
Just drop it, Reza.
As Reza, you walk the streets. You pass car radios airing news reports in Farsi or English. Your choice.
The Iranian government says that the death toll from the terrorist attack on Cinema Rex and Abadan has officially reached 400.
The young photojournalist Reza is loosely based on the life of the game maker himself, Iranian-Canadian Navid Kansari.
My grandfather took me out to the streets. I was an extremely curious child and always looking out the window of our third-floor apartment, and finally he said, okay, let's go. Well, I didn't understand what was taking place. I think, something that really resonated with me was listening to the concern in my mom's voice when I was standing by a window and if soldiers were shooting up in the air, and her concern about a bullet coming through the window, and just saying get down. The idea of get down was just something I'd seen in movies, and now it was playing in my living room.
The person that we are essentially playing in the game is in a tug of war between the urge to document the revolution and a kind of longing to join in. Is that a tension that you struggled with?
Absolutely. I think that's a tension that most of us struggle with. We don't represent the far right. We don't represent the far left. We're kind of stuck in the middle, and on certain decisions, we waver between one side to the other.
Reza, over here! Oh, you okay? Yeah, okay. Where's Ali? I lost him. Why'd you throw the rock, Reza? What are you, a freedom fighter now? I lost myself. You're here to observe and document, okay? Take your pictures now before they tear gas the place. Show the world what's going on in our streets.
I didn't want to make just a game. I wanted to create a world that allows the player to actually control and write their own narrative. And I think by putting people in directly those shoes, by putting them on the streets of Tehran, it's much easier to dispel what we've seen over the past 35 years of how Iran has been portrayed, because it's not just about clerics, and it's just not about women covered up in veils. This revolution was termed the Islamic Revolution only after the revolution took place. But if you take a look at all the people that were involved in it, Islam and its representation was a fraction, was a part of it.
Could you describe a crucial choice that you as a player can make that has a fateful impact on something in the game?
When you are in the protest and you come across your cousin Ali, and Ali's a member of the Mujahideen. He is the Che Guevara of our story. Charismatic, a rebel, but also has gone down a dark path by embracing violence. Your closest friend, Babak, who also happens to be from a totally different social class, is on the other side.
They're taking Abbas. Final chance to redeem yourself. Don't listen to him, Reza. It's not the only way. I'll stick to taking pictures. You disappoint me, Reza.
That's a decisive moment?
Yeah, are you in or are you out? When he doesn't pick up the rock, he goes to his place of strength, which is documenting what takes place. But when he throws the rock, then what it does is ensues others around him to start throwing rocks. And the situation eventually leads towards a riot.
This game is really graphic at times. We scrub blood from the body of a stabbing victim. We are threatened with torture by an interrogator more than once. You felt you had to show that.
Absolutely. I mean, look, that character that you're being interrogated by is named Asadullah Lajavardi, the actual interrogator in Evin prison after the revolution.
No. What is my name? I don't care who you are.
want to create a real experience, we need to understand how they were interrogating people and the tough choices that you make. Because in an interrogation, you choose between bad and worse. And we wanted to make sure that that would draw you into this experience.
You released the game earlier this month. About a week or so later, the Tehran Times reported that Iran's National Foundation for Computer Games banned your game because it, quote, could poison the minds of the youth and damage their spirit. Was it a surprise that the Iranian government agency banned your game?
I was surprised at their reasoning. Usually they just say that this is no longer available because it's American propaganda. But all they've really done is actually gotten more and more people within Iran excited to play the game. The torrent sites are, off the hook right now. People are ripping the game.
Now, let us stipulate here, because the listeners don't know, we haven't mentioned it yet. You helped produce a lot of the violent Grand Theft Auto games. I mean,